wamefika katika tukio hili ni mengi sana, watu wakiendelea kupatiwa wakiendelea kutoa maelezo mbalimbali.
Puma ni kampuni ambayo serikali inahisa 50% na 50% iko chini ya Puma International. Puma ni kampuni kubwa Tanzania nzima katika uingizaji, usambazaji na uuzaji wa mafuta. Tunauza mafuta ya diesel, petroli, lakini vile vile sisi ni waingizaji wa mafuta ya ndege. Tunaongoza Tanzania nzima katika kuingiza mafuta ya ndege. Asilimia yetu ya market share Tanzania ni zaidi ya 68% kwenye uingizaji wa mafuta ya ndege na uuzaji. Tuna operate kwenye airport 8 Tanzania nzima, ambayo ni Julius Nyerere International Airport, Zanzibar, Kia, Mwanza, Arusha, Songwe, Tabora na Dodoma. Tuna vituo zaidi ya 85 Tanzania nzima, ambayo ni Tanzania bara na visiwani, lakini tunategemea kuwa na vituo 95 by mwisho wa mwaka huu. Puma vile vile inajihusisha na uuzaji wa nishati safi ya kupikia. Tumeanza hii biashara mwaka 2022 na tuko sasa hivi katika mikoa mitatu ambayo ni Dar es Salaam, Pwani na Dodoma, na tunategemea kwenda mikoa mingine ya Tanzania kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka huu. Lakini vile vile tutaanzisha mwaka huu, tutafungua vituo vya uuzaji wa gesi safi au gesi asilia hapa Dar es Salaam. Tutafungua vituo viwili na kituo mama kimoja, lakini vile vile tunategemea kufungua kituo kingine kimoja Dodoma, Morogoro mwaka huu. Ndio. Lakini vile vile tunauza vilainishi vya Puma. Karibu sana kwenye banda letu mheshimiwa.
Sisi wa mikoa ya mbali mnatusahau?
Hapana, hatujasahau. Tuko katika mpango wa kwenda kwenye hiyo mikoa. Kwa hiyo tunakwenda kwa phases.
Lini utakwenda magharibi?
Tunategemea kwenda mwakani inshallah. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Nzuri.
Faida walioipata baada ya locals wenyewe kusimamia.
Okay.
Imekuwa nzuri sana, imetuimpress kwa kweli.
Mheshimiwa, kwa itapendeza, tumekutayarishia kitu kidogo hapa wewe na naibu waziri mkuu. Nimekuandalia mheshimiwa. Asante. Thank you. Karibuni sana.
Puma Energies ni kampuni ambayo ni ya mafuta. Hata hivyo sasa hivi kampuni nyingi za mafuta nazo zimekuwa zikitoa huduma ya nishati ya gesi.
Kampuni ya watoto wenu, kampuni ya Kitanzania. Naomba tunimruhusu nimwombe mwenyekiti aongee, aweze kutoa maelekezo.
Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais Dr. Isidori Mpango na naibu waziri mkuu na waziri wa nishati, tunawakaribisha sana na niwasalimie kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Kazi endelee.
Samahani iko kidogo na shake kwa sababu ni mara ya kwanza kuonana na mkubwa namna hii. Ila kama mkurugenzi alivyosema, kampuni ya Mansur Industries Limited ni kampuni ya Kitanzania na ni kwa ajili ya Watanzania. Sisi ni wasambazaji wakubwa wa nishati ya mafuta nchini Tanzania, na kwa takwimu za EURA za mwaka jana sisi tulikuwa ni kampuni ya pili nchini Tanzania. Pia hatuishii hapo, tupo Kenya, tuko Uganda, tuko Rwanda, tuko Burundi na tunafika mpaka Zambia. Kwa hiyo mheshimiwa, tufikishie salamu zenu. Somalia, kama amani ya Kitanzania itakuwa Somalia, tutafika na huko. Tunawaombea amani, ndicho chanzo cha kupata uwekezaji nchini. Karibu sana. Kama itakupendeza mheshimiwa, utatusainia visitors book kama ikikupendeza sana.
Asante. Nashukuru sana.
Ilikuwa ni Moil Energies, na hivyo ndivyo tunakamilisha swala utembeleaji wa mabanda katika baadhi ya eneo hili ambalo yalikuwa nje hapa na Makamu wa Rais Dr. Philip Isidori Mpango pamoja na waziri wa nishati ambaye ni naibu waziri mkuu Dr. Doto Biteko. Na sasa tutaingia ndani kwa ajili ya kuweza kufahamu kile ambacho kinaendelea huko, hivyo endelea kutufuatilia. Yuko mwenzangu hapo Rehema Sebabili.
Naam, asante sana Paul Alphonse. Asante sana Paul Allens, na hapa ni tupo eneo la ndani kama unavyoona wadau kutoka sekta mbalimbali waliopo katika sekta ya mafuta na gesi wakimsubiri makamu wa rais. Na hivi ndivyo kama tunavyoona hapo makamu wa rais anaingia katika ukumbi huu kwa ajili ya kufungua rasmi sasa mkutano huu wa 11 wa maonyesho unaokwenda sambamba na maonyesho ya bidhaa za petroli kwa nchi za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Kama unavyoona hapo mtazamaji, wadau hawa ni kutoka katika nchi za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, lakini pia kuna wadau wa maendeleo na waliopo pia katika sekta hii ya mafuta na gesi. Na lengo kubwa la kuwepo kwa mkutano huu ni kuhakikisha kwamba mkutano huu unatumika kwa ajili ya kuweza kuifanya Afrika Mashariki kuhama katika matumizi ya nishati chafu na kuelekea katika matumizi ya nishati safi, ikiwemo nishati safi ya kupikia. Mbali na hilo, mkutano huu unalenga pia kuibua fursa zilizopo katika sekta hii ya petroli. Na katika mkutano huu kuna mengi yatakayojadiliwa, na miongoni watakayojadiliwa ni kwamba nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki watapata nafasi ya kueleza jitihada walizozifanya ama katika kuibua fursa, lakini kueleza hatua walizofikia katika shughuli za utafutaji wa mafuta na gesi. Mbali na hilo, pia kutakuwa kuna zoezi leo la kutangazwa kwa leseni mpya katika maeneo mbalimbali ikiwemo maeneo ya utafutaji wa mafuta, lakini pia maeneo ya uzalishaji pamoja na maeneo kwa upande wa Somalia wao watanadi leseni katika maeneo la utafutaji wa mafuta na gesi. Naam, kama unavyoona hapo bado wanamsubiri makamu wa rais ili aweze kuingia kwa ajili ya kufungua rasmi mkutano huu. Na tutarajie kuona mengi katika mkutano huu, kwa sababu kama tunavyojua kwamba sekta ya mafuta na gesi ndio chachu ya maendeleo ya kiuchumi, kwa sababu unapokuwa na mafuta ya kutosha ama tunapokuwa na gesi ya kutosha itasaidia kama nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kufanya mengi makubwa, ikiwemo kuwa na uhakika wa nishati ya kutosha, lakini pia uhakika wa kuendesha shughuli za kiuchumi ikiwemo za viwanda na shughuli mbalimbali katika upande huo. Lakini mbali na hilo pia katika swala zima la utunzaji wa mazingira pale wanachama wa jumuiya wa nchi za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki watakapoweza sasa kuhama kutoka katika nishati chafu kuelekea katika nishati safi. Na mengine mengi tutaweza kuyaona. Mambo mengine yatakayojadiliwa ni masuala mazima kwenye upande wa sheria na taratibu ambazo zinaweza kuvutia uwekezaji katika eneo hili la mafuta na gesi. Mabanda mbalimbali tumeweza kuona namna ambavyo nchi za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ziliweza kupiga hatua katika maeneo mbalimbali ya utafutaji wa mafuta na gesi, lakini pia katika masuala mazima ya kuvutia uwekezaji na fursa zilizopo katika masuala mazima ya utafutaji na uchimbaji wa mafuta na gesi kuanzia nchini Tanzania, lakini pia katika nchi zingine, nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya za Afrika Mashariki.
Naam, Rehema Sebabili mwenzangu akikupitisha katika machache mara baada ya kufanyika kwa maonesho hayo ya mabanda mbalimbali ambao ni wadau muhimu katika masuala ya petroli pamoja na nishati hii ya gesi. Ni kituo cha kimataifa cha mikutano cha Mwalimu Julius Nyerere kikiendelea na uwenyeji wa mikutano mikubwa ya kimataifa, na hii ikiwa ni pia mkutano huu unaofanyika hapa wa Afrika ya Mashariki kuhusiana na petroli pamoja na gesi. Na hii inatokana na kongamano ambalo maamuzi yake ya mkutano wa 16 wa baraza la mawaziri wa kisekta la nishati ambao ulifanyika Februari 14 mwaka 2024 na uliamua kwamba Tanzania ndio iwe mwenyeji wa kongamano hili muhimu kabisa la nishati za petroli pamoja na gesi. Na huu unatajwa kuwaleta pamoja washiriki zaidi ya 1000 wakiwemo watunga sera, viongozi wa serikali kutoka nchi mbalimbali ikiwemo nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, wawekezaji wa kimataifa, bila kusahau wawekezaji wa ndani. Na tukio hili limeanza tangu linaanza tarehe 5, litakuwepo kwa siku 2 huku watunga sera hao na viongozi mbalimbali wakiendelea na mjadala kuhusiana na uwekezaji, utafutaji, utafiti pamoja na uchimbaji wa nishati hiyo muhimu kabisa hivi sasa duniani. Wakati wote ni kwamba makamu wa rais ambaye ndiye mgeni rasmi katika tukio hili muhimu ataingia katika ukumbi huu kwa ajili ya kushiriki kile ambacho kitakuwa siku hii ya kwanza. Miongoni mwa malengo ya mkutano huu ni mikakati ambayo inalenga kutangaza fursa mbalimbali zilizopo katika nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kuhusu rasilimali za mafuta na gesi asilia na kuielezea jiolojia na kuifahamisha dunia kuhusiana na uwepo wa fursa hizi katika ukanda wa Afrika ya Mashariki. Vile vile unalenga kutangaza maeneo mapya ya utafutaji na kutangaza maendeleo yaliyopatikana katika sekta ya nishati na petroli katika ukanda huu wa Afrika ya Mashariki. Malengo mengine ya mkutano ni pamoja na kubadilishana uzoefu kuhusu sera, sheria, kanuni na utaalamu unaotumika kwenye sekta ya nishati, lakini vile vile kuhamasisha uwekezaji, utafutaji, uzalishaji na uendelezaji wa mafuta na gesi asilia na matumizi yake, kama ambavyo imekuwa Tanzania imekuwa kinara wa kuhimiza matumizi ya nishati safi katika kupikia, ikiwemo gesi pamoja na umeme.
Paulo, unakumbuka kwamba kwenye mkutano ule wa Mission 300 ambapo pia Tanzania ilikuwa mwenyeji, tunaona pia malengo makubwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunafikisha nishati barani Afrika. Kwa tunaona tena hii leo kwamba nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki wamekutana tena Dar es Salaam kwa kongamano la 11. Kwa tunaona kwamba mikakati ni mizuri kuhakikisha kwamba Afrika inakwenda kujikwamua dhidi ya giza nene, kwa maana ya kwamba ya matumizi ya nishati chafu wanakwenda sasa kwenye nishati safi ikiwemo nishati safi ya kupikia. Hii inamaanisha kwamba Afrika imeamua, na tufahamu tu kwamba hakuna uchumi wowote unaweza kupiga hatua kama tu endapo bado unatumia nishati ile ambayo tunasema nishati chafu katika shughuli zako za kiuchumi. Tukianzia kwenye masuala ya mapishi, kama unatumia mkaa, bado unatumia kuni, utatumia muda mrefu sana kupika. Kwa hiyo shughuli zingine za maendeleo unashindwa kufanya, lakini pia na gharama. Lakini kwa sasa tunavyoona nchi ikichukua hatua, lakini pia tunaona wanajumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki wanachukua hatua kupitia hii sekta ya petroli kuhakikisha kwamba sasa wanakwenda kuhama kwenye matumizi ya nishati chafu, tuweze kutumia nishati safi ikiwemo nishati safi ya kupikia.
Naam, asante sana Rehema Sababili kukumbusha umuhimu wa nishati safi. Wakati haya yakiendelea katika ulimwengu wa petroli pamoja na gesi, ni kwamba inafahamika fika teknolojia sasa inaelekea kwa kasi katika matumizi ya gesi hata katika vyombo vya kusafiria. Kwa hiyo na hii ni kutokana na tafiti zilizofanywa kule ambako mafuta yanatoka kwa wingi, kwamba pengine siku za usoni yakipungua au hata kuisha, basi lazima tuwe tuna mbadala wa kuhakikisha kwamba vyombo hivi vinavyotumia nishati hiyo viweze kuwa na nishati nyingine mbadala. Katika tukio hili nimeambiwa kutoka kuna mada ambazo zitatolewa kadha wa kadha na zitajadiliwa, ikiwemo mada ya utafutaji na uendelezaji wa mafuta na gesi katika nchi za Afrika Mashariki. Pia kutoka kuna mada kuhusiana na fursa za uwekezaji katika mnyororo wa thamani wa mafuta pamoja na gesi, na vile vile kutakuwa kuna mada kuhusiana na dhana ya kuelekea nishati safi ambayo Tanzania tumeshaanza kuonyesha mfano kwa kiasi kikubwa, mpaka mamalishe ambao hupika vyakula katika maeneo nje ya nyumbani kwa ajili ya kuhudumia watu walio maofisini ama makazini ama katika shughuli zingine nje ya nyumbani kwao. Ni kwamba imeonekana kushika kasi sana kampeni ile, na kama unakumbuka hata Bongo FM wameibeba sana dhana ile kuhakikisha kwamba akina mama sasa wanatumia nishati safi ya kupikia, wapike kwa haraka, lakini vile vile wasidhurike katika mchakato ule wa kuhakikisha kwamba maakuli yanawafikia walaji bila wao kuathirika.
Na tukizungumzia, tukibaki hapo kwenye swala la nishati safi ya kupikia, tunaona hata hapo jana mkutano huu kulikuwa kuna ile mkutano wa utangulizi ulifanyika hapa Julius Nyerere, na aliyefungua mkutano huu ni naibu waziri mkuu ambaye pia ndio waziri wa nishati Dr. Biteko. Na lakini pia jana hiyo alipata kuhudhuria kongamano la nishati safi ya kupikia la wanawake. Tunaelekea kwenye Machi 8 siku ya wanawake, lakini wanawake wa TANESCO wao waliamua kufanya kongamano lao ambalo linalenga kuhamasisha matumizi ya nishati safi ya kupikia, ambapo mgeni rasmi alikuwa ni naibu waziri mkuu. Na pale naibu waziri mkuu aliweza kutoa tunaweza kusema ni update ya matumizi ya nishati safi ya kupikia, ambapo ameeleza kwamba sasa hivi serikali imeendelea kutoa nafuu za kikodi, na wale wasambazaji wa mitungi ya gesi sasa hivi kuna mitungi zaidi ya milioni 13 imekwisha wafikia Watanzania. Kwa hiyo unaona ni kiasi gani Watanzania katika eneo hili la nishati safi ya kupikia wameanza kuchangamkia kwamba kuona kwamba matumizi yale ya nishati zile chafu kwa maana ya kuni lakini pia mkaa ni gharama kwao. Lakini pia jana ilisisitizwa kwamba sasa hivi serikali imeweza kufikisha umeme takribani karibu katika kila kitongoji. Kwa hiyo kwamba wanawake wasiwe na shaka kusema kwamba nashindwa kupika kwa sababu sina umeme. Lakini pia kuna bunifu mbalimbali ambazo zimefanyika katika eneo hili la majiko haya yanayotumia umeme, kwamba unaweza kupika hata maharage kwa kutumia umeme kidogo kabisa. Kwa hiyo tunaona kwamba tumepiga hatua kwa namna moja ama nyingine kwenda kufikia kwenda kuhama kutoka kwenye matumizi ya nishati chafu kuja kwenye matumizi ya nishati safi ya kupikia.
Ni hatua iliyo muhimu sana katika maendeleo ya binadamu kuhakikisha sasa vitu vinaweza kufanyika kwa haraka na bila kuleta madhara katika mazingira, lakini vile vile madhara kwa watumiaji wenyewe wa nishati. Na hii yote ni kuelekea nishati safi ya kupikia, hususan gesi pamoja na umeme, na hata majiko ya kisasa yamekuwa yakitengenezwa kuhakikisha kwamba nishati hiyo inayotumika basi inatumika pia kwa usanifu, kwa maana ya nishati inatumika kidogo kwa ajili ya kupika ama kuhudumia kitu kikubwa. Mtazamaji wa TBC, ikiwa ndio kwanza unafungua runinga yako, haya ni matangazo mbashara kutoka katika kituo cha kimataifa cha mikutano cha Mwalimu Julius Nyerere jijini Dar es Salaam, mahali ambapo panafanyika mkutano na maonesho ya nishati ya petroli pamoja na gesi, ikiwa ni siku mbili, na hapo jana ikiwa ni utangulizi wake. Mzangu Rehema Sebabili alifika na kujionea kile ambacho kilifanyika hapo jana, na hii leo mgeni rasmi Dr. Philip Mpango, makamu wa rais, ndiye mgeni rasmi, akisindikizwa pia na naibu waziri mkuu ambaye pia ni waziri wa nishati Dr. Doto Biteko. Sasa viongozi hao wanaingia katika ukumbi huu tayari kabisa kwa ajili ya kwanza kwa mkutano huo, mijadala na mada mbalimbali kuwasilishwa kwa ajili ya swala zima la nishati ya petroli pamoja na gesi. Mimi ni Paul Alphonse, niko na Rehema Sebabili, karibu.
Your Excellency, may I request you to kindly remain standing as we are led by the brass band for the Tanzania's national anthem and that of the East African community. Let us clap our hands as we take our seats. Your Excellency, please take your seat. Your Excellency, we have our religious leaders, Prophet Samuel Samson Rolinga of Omega Ministries Church of All Nations, and Sheikh Ahmed Kadauma Bakwata, Dar es Salaam region, and the chairman of Irshad Foundation. Allow me to kindly invite them to lead us through the opening prayers. Karibuni, Prophet Samuel Rolinga. Nikuombe pia Sheikh usoge mbele. Karibu.
Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi Dr. Philip Isidori Mpango, Mheshimiwa Dr. Mashaka Biteko, naibu waziri mkuu, waheshimiwa mawaziri wote, Mheshimiwa mkuu wa mkoa Albert Chalamila na wageni wote wa kutokea katika mkutano huu wa nchi hizi za ukanda wa Afrika Mashariki, ni wasalimu wote kwa jina la Yesu Kristo. Nikumbushe kidogo kwamba leo tumeanza mwezi wetu wa kuingia kwenye Kwaresima. Ni wasihi wa Kristo wote katika mwezi huu ambapo tunakuwa tukikumbuka mateso ya Bwana wetu Yesu Kristo. Basi wote tuwe katika kuliombea taifa letu la Tanzania, lakini na wenzetu wa Islam pia ambao tuko katika mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhani. Basi wote kwa pamoja tukumbuke kuliombea taifa letu la Tanzania, hasa katika mwaka huu wa uchaguzi. Na pia hii ni wiki ya wanawake, pia tukumbuke kumwombea Daktari Samia Suluhu Hassan kwa niaba ya wanawake wote na mwanamke wa pekee katika ukanda wetu wa East Africa kuwa rais wa kwanza mwanamke. Basi baada ya kusema hayo, niombe tuinamisha vichwa vyetu kwa heshima tuweze kuomba. Baba, katika jina la Yesu Kristo wa Nazareti mwana mle hai, ninakushukuru kwa ajili ya wakati mwema huu ambao Mungu umetupa kuwa pamoja hapa katika siku nyingine tena kwenye mkutano huu wa petroleum na gas ambao Mungu umetupa katika taifa letu. Mungu, tuseme nini zaidi ya tunu na upekee mkubwa uliotupa kama kinara katika nchi zetu za Afrika na East Africa kwa nchi ya amani Tanzania. Ndio maana tunaona mikutano mingi inakuja hapa na viongozi wengi wanakuja hapa. Mungu, tunasema ni asante kwa ajili ya wakati huu mwema. Lakini Mungu, tunajua kabisa sisi kama waja wako ni mwezi wa Ramadhani, lakini pia ni mwezi wa Kwaresima. Tunaomba utusamehe, uturehemu, ututakase, uyafute makosa yetu na utuondolee adhabu na kutupunguzia kila aina ya uovu ndani ya maisha yetu. Mungu, tunaomba utupe kibali na damu ya Yesu Kristo ikatuoshe. Zaidi ya yote Mungu, na ukabidhi mkutano huu wa 11 katika taifa letu la Tanzania ukawe mkutano wa amani. Fungua fursa, fungua kila ambaye yeyote anayetakiwa kubarikiwa na mkutano huu. Baba, ninaachilia ulinzi wa damu ya Yesu katika ukumbi wote wa mkutano, katika jina la Baba na la Mwana na la Roho Mtakatifu. Amen. Asante sana.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، والصلاة والسلام على النبي الأمين سيدنا محمد أبا القاسم صلوات ربي وسلام إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Ndugu zangu, hakika kila mmoja katika moyo wake na nafsi wake, hususani sisi ambao tuliofunga mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhani, dua ya mfungaji huwa inakubalika moja kwa moja. Tumuombe Mwenyezi Mungu aijalie nchi yetu amani, aijalie kheri na baraka zake na utukufu wake. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allahumma ya Maulana ya Qadir, Allahumma ya Maulana ya Qadir, Allahumma ya Maulana ya Qadir. Ewe Mola wetu uliokuwa mtukufu, kwa baraka zako na utukufu wako, ijalie nchi yetu ya Tanzania izidi kuwa na utukufu. Ijalie kila kheri, ijalie kila baraka na utukufu wako Ilahi, kwa baraka ya mwezi mtukufu, mwezi wa Ramadhani. Ilahi, jalia kiongozi ambaye leo ndiyo mgeni rasmi, si mwingine isipokuwa ni makamu wa rais. Mwenyezi Mungu mjalie kila la kheri, mpe taufiki, mhifadhi na umkinge kwa baraka zako na utukufu wako. Ilahi waziri wa nishati Dr. Biteko, Allah zidi kumhifadhi, zidi kumuinua kwa baraka zako na utukufu wako. Wetu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, Ilahi mhifadhi, mpe hikma, mpe busara ili tuweze kunufaika na yale ambayo yalikuwa ya kheri. Ilahi Afrika yetu unaiona, tumekaa katika mkutano huu, tumekaa katika kikazi hichi, hatuna tunachofanya isipokuwa ni kufanya yale ambayo yaliyokuwa mazuri katika mustakabali wa Afrika yetu na duniani kote kwa pamoja. Ilahi tupe yaliokuwa ya kheri na utukinge na yote yaliokuwa shari. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
A very special thanks to our religious leaders. Your Excellency, Dr. Philip Isdori Mpango, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, who is our guest of honor this morning. We are so much honored and delighted to have you with us. Everyone can repeat guest of honor this morning for this great honor. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Her Excellency Veronica Nduva, the Secretary General of the East African Community. May I kindly request you to rise so we can recognize your presence, and let's put our hands together for her. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Dr. Mashaka Biteko, Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, who is our host at this conference. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, Minister of Energy from the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Dahir Shaya Mohammed, Minister of Petroleum Mineral Resources from the Republic of Somalia. In a very special way, Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Thabit Mahmoud Kombo, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Shabani Ali Athman, Minister of Blue Economy and Fisheries from the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar. On the high table, Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Judith Kapinga, Deputy Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Albert Chalamila, the Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner. Please, if you may rise, we recognize your presence. Asante sana. May I also recognize the presence of all Excellencies ambassadors present. Your Excellency, in a very special way, allow me to recognize that Rwanda's ambassador to Tanzania is also representing the Minister of Energy from the Republic of Rwanda. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Chairs of permanent parliamentary committees present from across the region. All the chairs of permanent parliamentary committees, if you may kindly rise so we recognize your presence. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize in a very special way the presence of Honorable Andrea Arik Aguer Maluet, Deputy Secretary General, responsible for infrastructure, productive, social and political sectors of the East Africa community. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Engineer Felchesn Mramba, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania. At this juncture, may I also request all the permanent secretaries present to please rise so we can recognize your presence. Let's give them a big round of applause. Asante, asante sana. May I recognize the presence of all district commissioners present. Your Excellency, please also allow me to recognize the presence of Dr. James Mataragio, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy. But in a very special way, I also would like to recognize him as the chairman for the EAPC 25 Regional Steering Committee. So at this juncture, may I also request the members of the steering committee to please rise so we can recognize your presence. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Florence Namuyangu, Minister of State for Buyango Affairs from the Republic of Uganda. Very honored to have you with us. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize in a very special way the presence of Donald Kaberuka, economist and former president of the African Development Bank. Thank you very much. If you can kindly, sir, if you can kindly rise, if you can please stand up so we can recognize your presence. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, this is a regional conference, and at this juncture, allow me to upon country delegates that are present with us this morning. To begin with, all delegates from Rwanda, if you may please rise. Rwanda. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Burundi. Thank you, Rwanda. Burundi, delegates from Burundi. Let's give them a round of applause. Delegates from Uganda. Uganda. From the top, thank you very much. Somalia. Delegates from Somalia, let's give them a round of applause. Delegates from Kenya. Your Excellency, almost half the room is Kenya. Delighted to have them. To forget the host, Tanzania. Can we all please rise and recognize the presence of delegates from Tanzania? Thank you very much. Kindly take your seats. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of all board chairpersons from across the region, this being a regional conference, but allow me in a very special way to recognize the presence of Honorable Professor Mark Mondosia, Chairman of the Board of Ewura, is with us. Asante sana, Professor. At this juncture as well, from across the region, may I recognize the presence of all board members present. Guests of honor, allow me to also recognize the presence of all heads of government agencies present from across the region, all distinguished sponsors from across the region, all heads of private sector and investors from across the region. Guests of honor, we have distinguished speakers and panelists from across the region, our religious leaders, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, without to forget to mention, honorable guests of honor, that we are live on TBC and other various channels. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. I take a singular honor to welcome you all to the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition, which is happening here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, this 2025. Your Excellency, this conference aims to bring or has brought together East African partner states and stakeholders to discuss plans and strategies for just energy transition. We are guided by the theme Unlocking Investments in Future Energy, the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa. I will mention momentarily all our sponsors, but before I do that, Your Excellency, allow me now to invite for the remarks of the steering committee, the chairman, Dr. James P. Mataragio of the Regional Steering Committee. His remarks will be followed by the welcoming and introductory remarks by Engineer Philchezim Mramba, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy. As is already on the stage, let's also usher him with a round of applause. Karibu.
Your Excellency, Dr. Philip Isdoli Mpango, Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Energy, the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers from East Africa Community, partner states, from other countries. Her Excellency Veronica Nduva, Secretary General of the East African Community, Honorable Members of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Albert Chalamila, Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner, and other regional commissioners present, Engineer Felichesemi Mramba, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Energy, and the host of this event, and all other secretaries present, Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and the members of the Diplomatic Corps present, Head of institutions, Executive Directors, and the CEOs of the local and the foreign institutions, authorities, companies, and associations, government officials, energy companies, representatives, business leaders, EAPC 25 sponsors and organizers, media team, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, with immense pride, we celebrate 2 decades since the East African partner states established the East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition with the primary objective of promoting exploration, development, and the production of oil and gas in the region. First held in Mombasa, Kenya, in 2003, since then, the conference has been biannually on rotation basis among partner states. Initially, when it started, the conference attracted fewer participants simply because it commenced at a time when none of the founding member states had started production of hydrocarbons. Your Excellency, with increasing hydrocarbon prospects in the region, the commercialization of natural gas in Tanzania in 2004, and the commercial oil discovery in Uganda in 2006, EAPC started to gain traction and attracted more participants. The conference and exhibition attained prominence when several petroleum discoveries were made from the mid-2000 up to 2015 due to increased exploration activities. As a result, the EPC became a vital platform for member states to deliberate and draw actionable strategies to sustainably develop the discovered resources and enhance the exploration of petroleum in the region. Your Excellency, with time, EAC has expanded to 8 partner states, and this has made the EPC to grow even bigger and stronger. The conference and exhibition have snowballed into a big event, attracting more than 1,000 participants from the government institutions, major and independent international energy companies, as well as service providers, financial institutions, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, academia, just to mention a few. Your Excellency, the decision on when and where the conference will be held is usually made by the East African Community, EEC, Sectoral Council of Energy, Petroleum, and Mining, after which the regional steering committee was established to kickstart and coordinating for the conference. The steering committee is made up of representatives from all the partner states. And backing the steering committee in preparation is the National Organizing Committee, comprising members from the host country. Your Excellency, currently the EAPC event is more than a forum for dialogue, as it offers several other memorable experiences. For instance, the pre- and the post-conference excursions in various areas offers participants a unique opportunity not only to learn about geology, but also to explore tourist attractions. Your Excellency, over the years, the EAPC event has evolved to become an important platform for member states to showcase hydrocarbon potential of the region and to promote available investment opportunities. Accordingly, partner states have used this platform to launch licensing rounds, appraise the world on the progress of the hydrocarbon exploration and the development in their countries, and to draw resolution on sustainable exploration and the development of hydrocarbons in the region. Further, the participants have had unique opportunity to present and discuss several topics about energy sector, through which participants exchange ideas and increase their understanding of solving energy challenges. Your Excellency, now allow me to use this opportunity to thank the East African Community Secretariat and the Steering Committee members for their trust in me that I could chair and lead preparation for this event. Your Excellency, exceptionally, I sincerely thank the government of the United Republic of Tanzania under the visionary leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan for being there for us at all the times. Further, we appreciate the support provided to us by the Minister of Energy, by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the East African Community, East African Operation and Tanzania Minister of Energy in the cause of making this event successful. At this point, please allow me to specifically and categorically thank the following. First, Honorable Mashaka Biteko, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, for his invaluable guidance that enabled us to successfully undertake this event. Also, Honorable Judith Salivio Kapinga, the Deputy Minister of Energy, for being there for us and providing much needed support. Engineer Felsim Josen Mramba, the Permanent Secretary, for being there at the forefront of this. The National Organizing Committee team, under the chairpersonship of Engineer Joyce Kisamo from the Ministry of Energy, that we could not do this without you, Joyce. Thank you so much. Our sponsors, we shall forever treasure and the support you rendered to facilitate the conference. Your names have been written with gold ink in our book, in our good books. And lastly, but not for importance, is the media. Thank you for the promotion of this event and informing the stakeholders and the general public about it. We are very grateful for your support. Your Excellency, with that said, I thank you very much and I wish you an enjoyable conference. Thank you so much.
Let's once again give a round of applause to Dr. Mataragio. Asante sana Dokta, tunakushukuru sana. Your Excellency, before the welcoming and introductory remark of P.S. Mramba, Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Energy, allow me please to recognize our esteemed sponsors who have been sponsored us across the region. I would like to recognize the sponsorship from Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC. Makofi tafadhali kwao. Also, we would like to recognize the sponsorship from Petroleum Upstream Regulatory Authority, PURA, in Tanzania. Also, we really thank you so much, the Energy and Water Utility Regulatory Authority, EWURA, in Tanzania. Without forget the Petroleum Bulk Procurement Agency, PBPA, in Tanzania. The Rural Energy Agency, REA, here in Tanzania. We also recognize the sponsorship from Ara Petroleum Tanzania Limited, Africa Geophysical Services, AGS, Oilcom Tanzania Limited, Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC. Thank you very much. National Microfinance Bank, NMB. Also, we would like to say thank you very much for the sponsorship from Tanzania International Petroleum Reserve, TIPA. Without forget Moil Energies, Total Energies, Shell Exploration and Production Tanzania, Equinor Tanzania, the Tanzania Electric Supply Company here in Tanzania, TANESCO, Puma Energy, Morian Prom Exploration Production Tanzania Limited. We also very much thankful to Gulf Interstate, East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP. We also recognize the support from CRDB Bank, CNOC Uganda Limited. Without forget the Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC. We also recognize the support from the National Oil Corporation of Kenya, NOC. We also thank you very much the sponsorship from Stanbic Bank Tanzania, KS Energy, Petroleum Authority of Uganda, Tanzania Oil Company Tan Oil, Petroleum Authority of Uganda, PAU. Without forget the sponsorship from Tazama, Gas Supply Company, it's called Gasco, Solution Tag, Vivo Energy, Tindwa Medical Health Services, TMHS. Kwa kweli tunawashukuru sana Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi kwa sapoti yao ya kufanikisha mkutano huo. Your Excellency, allow me now to invite Permanent Secretary, Minister of Energy from Tanzania, Engineer Felcius Mramba, for his welcome and introductory remark, to be followed by key address from Dr. Kaberuka. Karibu sana Katibu Mkuu.
Your Excellency, Dr. Philip Isidore Mpango, Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, thank you. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers representing various East African countries, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, it is my privilege and honor to stand before you this morning as we gather for the opening of the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2025. On behalf of the Minister of Energy, I extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests who came from different countries to participate with us in this conference. I trust that you have had an enjoyable stay in Dar es Salaam, and we hope that as we'll keep on staying in Dar es Salaam, you'll be safe and enjoy your stay. Your Excellency, this important event is a cornerstone in promoting the exploration, development, production, and sustainable utilization of oil and gas resources in East Africa. As we navigate the evolving global energy landscape, Tanzania remains steadfast in its commitment to leverage natural gas as transitional fuel, supporting industrialization, transportation through compressed natural gas, and ensuring access to clean cooking energy for our people and for the industries. In line with our national energy strategies, we are accelerating efforts to transit from traditional biomass cooking methods to modern and clean alternatives such as natural gas, liquefied petroleum gas, and electricity. This transition is crucial for enhancing public mitigating environment in order to address the issue of environmental degradation and fostering energy efficiency across our communities. Your Excellency, the East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition is not just a regional gathering, but an international forum for collaboration, knowledge exchange, and innovation. It provides a unique opportunity for stakeholders to engage in meaningful dialogue, adopt cutting-edge technologies, and address sectoral challenges while working towards a diversified and sustainable energy future. For Tanzania, hosting this conference is a privilege as it allows us to exchange experience, build a stronger partnership, and deepen regional cooperation in the oil and gas sector, while also advancing the broader energy transition agenda. Moreover, it provides a platform to highlight the critical role of energy transition in achieving sustainable development goals. And of particular interest is promotion of clean cooking energy solutions that improve livelihoods and protect our environment. Your Excellency, throughout this conference, a series of sessions and exhibitions have been carefully curated to provide comprehensive insights into the petroleum potentials of our region, as well as the transformative role of energy transition and clean cooking energy in shaping a sustainable future. The conference program will guide our proceedings, and our dedicated Secretariat stands ready to assist with any inquiries. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to the organizing committee for their tireless efforts in making this conference a reality. I also wish to acknowledge and thank our sponsors for their invaluable support in ensuring the success of this event. Your Excellency, I know that introduction was done, and one of my role was to do the welcoming remarks as well as doing round of introductions. Now, Your Excellency, allow me to introduce few people who were not covered in the introduction done by the Master of Ceremony. And to start with, let me recognize presence of regional commissioners who are with us today. Again, let me acknowledge presence of guests from countries outside the East African community. And here we have guests from the SADC and other friendly countries. Please, can I invite you to stand and wave to the guests of honor. Your Excellency, we also have a big team from the media who are with us today. If you can just wave. We have representatives from high learning institutions, universities, and other high learning institutions. If you can rise and wave. With that brief acknowledgement of few people who were not introduced earlier, let me, Your Excellency, thank you so much. And again, invite all of you, especially those who are coming from outside Tanzania, and say, feel at home in Tanzania for these few days. Asante sana.
Let's extend another warm round of applause to Felchizim Ramba, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy, and of course, the host. Your Excellency, as we are looking on to unlocking investment in the future energy, the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa, allow me without further ado to invite Dr. Donald Kaberuka, economist and former president of the African Development Bank, for his keynote address, to be followed by a very brief entertainment by Kibati, so at least our guests can have a feel of Tanzania, Zanzibar. This entertainment will also be followed by the opening remarks now, to begin with those of the EAC Secretary General. But for now, Dr. Donald Kaberuka, please, karibu as he comes. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Good morning. Guests of honor, excellencies, friends. I really appreciate this opportunity to join you today. I think your association over the years has done a great job of identifying, articulating all the issues which are pertinent to this industry. And so I'm happy to be with you today. Now, as a fellow East African, will you allow me to be very frank here and share with you maybe a few things which in the confines of a conference of this type sometimes alluded to, sometimes avoided. But in the interest of time, I'll try to be quite brief. So, between 2000 and 2008, I was partly president of the African Development Bank, and I observed a very unique phenomenon that, as Vice President you know very well, after years of decline in Africa, from the turn of this millennium, African countries began to grow very, very fast. Above 7%, 8%. Now, the first thing I want to say to you is that the fastest growing region in that period was East Africa. And yet, East Africa then had no oil, no gas. It was performing much better than many countries in North Africa and on the Atlantic belt, which are very rich in natural resources. I want you to reflect on this. That whether it was Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and others in the region, they were growing all above 7%, 8%. Yet they had no oil, they had no gas. Countries on the West African coast, on the Atlantic belt, rich in oil and gas, were having sometimes strong growth, sometimes very slow. Either way, it was very volatile. 9% one year, 3% another year. So I want to leave this with you and I come to it. And so what I decided to do in 2009 was to commission a study. That study is available to you. I was hoping to share with you, but the time is limited. It is called Oil and Gas in Africa, which we commissioned with the African Union to try to share with you what are the implications for these massive discoveries of oil in this region and gas. Now, obviously, as prices were increasing between 2000 and 2008, almost 4 times, that stimulated a lot of exploration. That is normal. That is what happened in this region. And so, I watched something, again, quite unique, because as oil prices go up, if you're an exporting country, obviously you get more revenues. If you're an importing country, your balance of payments, your currencies come under pressure. So there were 2 groups of countries in Africa, those benefiting from the increased revenues and those who are seeing pressure on their balance of payments. That too is very normal. So I chose to do this study. I really hope you can look it up. And I had the following reasons why I thought this study was very important, and I really want to recommend it to you. The first one, so how come the East African region, which had no oil and gas, were doing much better than those areas with oil and gas? We needed to dig in and find out what were the reasons. Number 2, this was 2009, immediately after the global financial crisis. At the beginning of the financial crisis, there was, in the international media, a very naive, rather lazy assumption that Africa would be the continent to suffer the most. Yes, we were bruised, but we actually emerged from the financial crisis much stronger than people thought. That too, for me, was quite important. And number 3, I was concerned about the euphoria and the implications of euphoria on economic policy. Oil is coming, gas is coming, so all the issues will be resolved. And I was concerned about what, again, our distinguished guest of honor know very well, this thing called the paradox of plenty. In common language, they call it the Dutch disease, i.e., as countries discover these natural resources, okay, because of the macroeconomic issues I don't want to go into today, other sectors, especially agriculture, suffer very badly. And so countries who are self-sufficient in food suddenly become net importers of food, jobs get lost, the enclave economy develops, and there are no linkages with the rest of the economy. The fourth reason I was keen to look into this was that some countries, they discover these resources, decide to set up special funds known as sovereign wealth funds, or what some people call intergenerational funds. That is to say, as you recoup all these resources, you don't spend all of it, you save a lot of it for future generations, which is a very good thing to do. Botswana has done this for years, and Libya as well. And so many of these countries were keen to set up the sovereign wealth funds. But it was not working quite well. And I was keen to understand, so if you want to set up a sovereign wealth fund, as I'm sure many of you will do, what kind of sovereign wealth fund would that be? It could be a fund for a rainy day, a counter-cyclical fund. It could be a fund for investment, or it could be a fund for future generations. But my assessment of the different funds, that we look at about 11 of them, the evidence was quite mixed. And we were keen to see what kind of recommendations we could make to those countries. And finally, this is very important for our friends, the Minister of Energy. Thank you, PS, for what you said today. You see, whether it is hydropower, whether it is power from fossil fuels, whether it is power from other sources, two things are critical. Number one, there are very few countries in the world who can have energy security totally from their own domestic resources. It is absolutely important to build regional energy markets, as you are trying to do in East Africa. Buy and sell from each other, as I would encourage you to do. But how do you do that? How is it best done? And one more thing, I found that as you look at energy security, there are a number of considerations. The first consideration is that, of course, it should be available. But it might be available and not accessible. So the second thing, it must be accessible. And the third thing is, it might be available and accessible, but not affordable. And so it is available, but there is no energy security. And typically, as you know very well, the biggest culprit in all this was the financial state of our national off-takers, the national electricity company, national power companies, which are the biggest buyers of these resources, which then distribute them in the grid. I found that in many of our countries, even though power was available, affordability was a problem, because the national off-takers' balance sheets were so bad, so poor, that they were passing on the cost of inefficiencies to the consumers and to industry. And very finally, I looked carefully at countries who, we call them the first generation of gas and oil producers. How many of them have actually created a petrochemical industry? In other words, all the way from here to here. We are digging oil and gas, exporting it, getting revenues, but hardly anyone, except two, tried to begin the process of building a petrochemical industry to be part and parcel of the global value chain of this particular asset. Now, I've been told again time is limited, so I don't have time to go into all this. But I want to share with you some of our findings. And I want to encourage you to look at that report. It's called Oil and Gas in Africa by the African Development Bank and the African Union, and it's dated 2009. It's 15 years ago, so it's a bit dated, but you may find some useful tidbits in there. Both on issues around which we'll be discussing today. How do you attract investment? What kind of investment? How do you negotiate contracts? How do you ensure local content? How do you ensure backward linkages? And all the stuff you know very well. So here is the first conclusion, which again I want to repeat because I've already referred to it. Natural resources do help our economies, but they're hardly ever the decisive factor. Natural resources are hardly ever the decisive factor. A famous expert distinguishes two types of wealth. There is wealth which you inherit from God, and there is wealth which you create. There are two forms of wealth. So the secret of successful countries who discover natural resources are those able to transform the inherited wealth, oil and gas and diamonds, into created wealth, which means the human mind. This is a conclusion which I'm sure you are very much aware. Natural resources are depletable. They will end one day. Even by themselves, they don't constitute wealth. They increase the size of the balance sheet, but hardly constitute wealth. It's a conclusion which sounds obvious, but which many countries have forgotten. So how are you able to take those natural resources inherited from God and turn it into created wealth through the things, social investments, you know very well, is the key. And so, possession of these resources is no guarantee of prosperity. Is no guarantee of prosperity. It all depends upon as you know, how you negotiate the contracts. I know this is very controversial, but there are experts here on that. How you negotiate the contracts. The kind of partnerships between different parts of the industry. I think here, Botswana is a very good example of how over the years, the country in the diamond industry created a relationship which has gone on for almost over 60 years, quite successfully, until I think recently they had to negotiate a few things. But if the contract is negotiated and have to be renegotiated every so many years, then there lies an element of instability which does not serve the industry very well. And the third thing, of course, is how you manage those resources. You could manage them in a fiscally prudent way, which ensures macroeconomic stability, or in an imprudent way, which generates debt and unsustainability of the same debt. It's a fiscal choice which the country makes, and many of them have made either good choices or bad choices. And the very last point here, I'm sure you'll be discussing it again, is how you ensure that in the current discussion about the journey to net zero by 2050, how our industry is designed to be part of that journey, but taking into account the fact that we are still an energy-poor continent, but also that we start from different starting points, and therefore our energy transition will be different. Designed as we develop this industry is extremely important. So that probably is something which you're familiar with. The second conclusion on this paradox of plenty, i.e. a country is very rich, exporting maybe 1 million barrels of oil per day, but 60% of the population live below $1 a day. That is the famous paradox of plenty. Partly because the oil and gas industry are what we call enclave industries. They create very few jobs, and the linkages with the rest of the economy are quite limited. And so, if there's no deliberate policy of linking up that enclave industry with the rest of the economy, there goes your paradox of plenty. We know countries who used to be net exporters of food products, all right? Now they're net importers of food products, all right? Job creation outside the enclave sector is very limited. Now, I want to say this. I don't believe that the Dutch disease or the paradox of plenty, okay, is necessarily something which is unavoidable. It is something which planners have to build early on into the thinking of the system, how you manage the resources in a way which builds the rest of the economy, not actually damages the rest of the economy. Another conclusion which we reached was how to manage volatility. And I will explain this way. You know, sometimes being of an advanced age can help. In 1972, I don't see many people in this room who were born then. I might be one of the few. 1972, the price of the barrel of oil was about $3, thereabout. In dollars of their time, $3. Because of the events in the Middle East, you know, complicated, price jumped from $3 to $12 in just 1 year. $3, $12, 1 year. And then up to 79, by the time of the Iranian Revolution, oil price had gone from $3 to $32 a barrel. You can go back and research this. And the impact was quite interesting. And forgive me, I just have a few points and I'll be done. What happened was we had three parts of the world like this. In the Middle East, countries were awash with surpluses. They called them petrodollars. In Africa and part in Latin America, the opposite. As our balance of payments came under pressure. And so Africa began a long journey of decline where real per capita growth became negative for the first time. In other words, our population was increasing much faster than the economies. This oil shock, okay, caused a damage which lasted about 30 years in many of our countries, debt crisis and so on. Why am I saying this? Then, by mid-1980s, as some African countries had begun to discover oil prices crashed back again to about $8 per barrel. Again, because of events somewhere else. And so, as I looked at these oil prices between 2002 and 2008 go from up almost 4 times, I worried that our countries, again, will have difficulties thinking about how you manage volatility. I did explain to you that the reason East Africa was doing very well was that the economic basis of growth in this region was not based on volatile material. Okay, so how best do you manage volatility? I'm not here to explain something which you know very well. I will leave that to you. But I think the more you think about the fact that exploration in this region has happened at large scale because the oil prices were very high. But the world being what it is, one day these same oil prices might come down. So what do you do? I said that one of the reasons we're doing this study was that we're figuring out what kind of funds you could establish which take care of those kind of situations. It's a big subject for another day, but I want you to reflect seriously. It is not simply enough to set up a sovereign wealth fund. It is important to think through what kind of fund, what is the governance around it, and number 3, what is the robustness in terms of oversight? I'll give you an example. So here's a country in Southern Africa, which has a sovereign wealth fund. During the global financial crisis, they had a deficit in the budget. And they came to us and they said, look, could you lend us $1.5 billion to close our deficit? All right? And I looked carefully at it and I saw 3 things. Mr. Vice President, this is something you might be familiar with. That country decided to do this. We shall increase domestic revenues from other taxable base. We shall cut our expenditure, but we shall not touch a single dollar from the sovereign wealth fund. Now, there is another country not far from there which took the opposite decision. Because they were running a deficit, so instead of doing the adjustment in terms of the revenues and expenditures, they say, wait a minute, but we have a sovereign wealth fund. All right? Although the law says how you can access or not access the sovereign wealth fund. So they went to the sovereign wealth fund and depleted it. At the time, the government said, no, they were borrowing from the sovereign wealth fund, but that is not provided for by the law. But it happened anyway. So my concern was that as you set up these funds, which I'm sure you will, think hard about what exactly is your intention. Is it to save for the future? Is it to build up an investment fund? Or is it a counter-cyclical fund? Unless you have that clarity at the beginning, the day you have a deficit, you are going to raid your sovereign wealth fund. And that was exactly the elements of excessive volatility. I've been warned that I have limited time, so I would like to just end on this point. East Africa, in the next 30 years, will count a lot. Since we're in Tanzania, Tanzania will be among the top 15 demographies in the world, with the like of India, Indonesia, Brazil, the US, Mexico, Nigeria, Egypt, Ethiopia. Tanzania will be up there, demographically speaking. So this region will matter in terms of demographic weight in the next 50 years. Now, the way also these things work is that around 2070, the famous demographic transition might take place. It will begin to take place, i.e., the number of dependents in relation to the labor force will have begin to change. Not now, but it will happen. But between now and then, the youth numbers are increasing, the size of the labor force is increasing. But one day, the decline will begin. And it is extremely important that as we think about this newly found wealth, we try to match it with what is the historical duty now we have, which is to build human capital, which will build innovation, which innovation is the real future wealth. So I leave you a thought that God has blessed us in East Africa with these resources. Negotiate the contracts very well, please do. Build long-term partnerships with other parts of industry, not the conflictual partnerships, but that depends upon the contract you negotiated. Manage very prudently, because this resource is depletable. It will end one day. And even if it does not end soon, it is very volatile, especially in the context of the energy transition which we are facing, which we have to address quite differently. So I want to wish you very well. I want to thank you for what you do. I looked through your program, everything's there. You are going to discuss all the pertinent issues, but I wanted to leave you these humble thoughts. Thank you again for inviting me. Thank you.
Asante sana, Dr. Donald Kaberuka, the economist and former president of the African Development Bank, for that fantastic keynote address. Guest of honor, allow me to take cognizance of the fact that Her Excellency Leontine Nzeimana, the Burundi ambassador to Tanzania, is also here at the capacity representing Honorable Ibrahim Uwizeye, the Energy and Mines Minister. Can we once again recognize the presence by giving her a round of applause? Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me now to get a bridge of entertainment as I bring Kibati all the way from Zanzibar for a short entertainment. This entertainment will now be followed by the opening remarks, which shall commence by the remarks by Her Excellency Veronica Ndu, EAC Secretary General, to be followed by those by Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy, who will then invite you to speak to the East African region using through this audience. But for now, Kibati, karibuni sana for a few minutes of entertainment, a spice and taste of Tanzania entertainment from all the way from Zanzibar. Karibuni sana.
Hello. Asante Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi. Kibati ni miongoni mwa ngoma ambazo ni maarufu sana, zinatokea kule kaskazini Pemba na zinachezwa katika sherehe tofauti tofauti. Basi tuwaruhusu Kibati ili waweze kutuonyesha asili ya malenga wawili ambao kwa sasa amebaki mmoja, ili kuweza kupata burudani kutoka Afrika Mashariki. Karibu Kibati.
Hello. Asema ninawasalimu kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wetu wa Tanzania. Kazi endelee. Asema hongera baba, hongera. Asema makamu wetu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wetu wa Tanzania, baba hongera. Hongera we baba, hongera hoya we. Kwa juhudi zako twazidi kung'ara. Hongera we baba, hongera hoya we. Kwa juhudi zako. Asema baba sidori mpango, baba hongera. Wanao baba twakupa hongera, chuo cha mafunzo twakupa hongera. Hongera we baba, hongera hoyawe, kwa juhudi zako twazidi kung'ara. Hema kwa juhudi zako baba, kwa juhudi zako baba, stori pango si kwa juhudi zako zidiku. Hema we kwa juhudi zako, hema we kwa juhudi zako. Hasema mkutano wa 11 wa Petroli Afrika Mashariki leo unafanyika we. Ni mkutano mkuu wa Afrika Mashariki unafanyika we. Lengo kujadili mipango ya kimaendeleo ya Afrika. Kwanza we nipija panga pengwa mezani yaka panika kwa kunipija panga jana Mungu sana beberu kupana msabana kuja kwa bala plan samana. Sema to kuja kwa bara bi Mungu amladida bya kuje kama sana kwa bara utumbuke kwa ndani na dua ya malenga hairudi asilani. Niye nikiomba dua zangu wenza. Hasema furaha leo, furaha baba zimetuja. Hasema makamu wetu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, karibu baba, wanao leo tushakupokea. Baba tunakushukuru sana leo kwa kuhudhuria. Husema furaha niliyokuwa nayo baba siwezi kujizuia, maana mie mwanao huwa na enjoy baba kila kibati ninapokuimbia. Hasema japokuwa watu wanakaa na kunisema vibaya, basi leo nawaambia mimi na makamu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania ni sawa na mgonjwa na dawa, tuambia wazi wazi bure munajisumbua. Asema mkutano wa 11 wa Petroli Afrika Mashariki baba leo kuja kufungua tena, mashahidi macho yetu leo tutajionea, na wageni mbalimbali kutoka nchi mbalimbali twawaambia karibuni. Tanzania ni nchi yenye amani, leo tushawapokea. Asema Tanzania ni nchi yenye amani, leo tushawapokea, karibuni. Karibuni tena mujisikie furaha huku mukishangilia. Hasema mkutano mkuu wa Afrika Mashariki baba leo tunashangilia, kwanza kuweka pamoja mataifa na wadau wa Afrika Mashariki kujadili mipango ya kimaendeleo. Leo tunashangilia na pia kuzungumzia rasilimali mafuta na gesi na changamoto mbalimbali leo kuziondoa. Basi bila ya kusita na siye tunaomba dua. Asema bila ya kusita na siye tunaomba dua, basi mkutano umalize salama na yale yatakozungumziwa yaweze kukamilika. Leo hapa tunawaambia, asema pongezi kwa rais wetu mpendwa Mama Samia, rais mpenda haki, msimamia sheria, tena ni kiongozi madhubuti, kwake tunajivunia. Asema mama amekuwa kinara kuhamasisha nishati safi ya gesi ya kupikia. Hongera rais wetu kipenzi mpendwa Mama Samia, maendeleo mbalimbali nchini tunajionea. Asema nikiona mkutano huu basi moyoni mwangu mie hufarijika, maana Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki nazidi kunawirika. Basi tuomba Mungu mkutano huu Mungu auzidishe baraka. Asema tuomba Mungu mkutano huu Mungu auzidishe baraka, yale yote atakayozungumziwa basi aweze kukamilika. Asema mpewa hapo kwenye kiwahenga wameshatwambia, hema hata ukifanya chukiwe bure unajisumbua. Sema naibu wetu waziri mkuu si mwengine baba, siye wanao pongezi twakutolea. We ni kiongozi mashuhuri, hakika twajivunia. Baba, umekuwa msaada mkubwa kwenye serikali yetu, maendeleo nchini tunajionea. Baba, kuna jambo kubwa mimi naoni nataka kukwambia. Asema ulipokuja Zanzibari baba kufungua jengo la Zawa, kikundi chako cha mafunzo siye ndiyo tulioingia. Baba, hukuja mikono mitupu, zawadi ulituletea. Basi leo mbele ya hadhara hii najua baba zawadi umetuandalia. Asema nikija hapo mbele namuona Mheshimiwa Baba Mahamudu Thabiti Kombo, tunakupongeza sana. Asema ni kiongozi mashuhuri, mpole, hapendi shari, ni mtu mwenye hekima. Baba, uongozi wako tunaona we ni kiongozi hodari sana. Asema na waziri wetu kipenzi wa uchumi wa bulusi mwingine Baba Shabani asiyemtambua nani. Asema Baba Shabani umeshika tama, unawaza kitu gani? Siye ni kikundi chako kile cha mafunzo kutokea visiwani. Baba, kukuona kwa hakika tumefurahika moyoni. Asema kukuona kwa hakika tumefurahika moyoni. Baba, usione ajabu, usiye ni wanao, hakika tunakupenda moyoni. Najua baba huwezi kukaa kitako, lazima utasimama kuja hapa leo uwanjani. Asema we sherehewe, leo twasherekea. Viongozi wetu wapo vitini wametulia we. Hongera viongozi wote twawatolea. Hema we sherehewe, viongozi wetu wapo vitini wametulia we. Hongera viongozi wote twawatolea. Asema wawapiwe, wawapi leo viongozi wetu waje hapa tufurahike nao. Hema waje hapa, hema waje hapa, hema waje hapa. Sema ndugu zetu wa Kenya jama leo na wataka uwanjani. Asema Uganda muko wapi na wataka uwanjani. Zambia leo muko wapi, siye twawataka uwanjani. Leo ni furaha kwetu, siye tumefurahika moyoni. Kapteni Baba Hamadi mie na kutaka uwanjani. Leo ni furaha kubwa, siye tumefurahika moyoni. Waliosema haya wimbo mbona leo yamekuwa, eti waje hapa we. Hema waje hapa, hema waje hapa, hema waje hapa, hema waje hapa, waje hapa. Asema nikenda kwa makamu wangu mie sitakosa kitu, muda usoza we. Asema nikenda kwa baba Isidori Mpango mie sitakosa kitu, muda usoza. Asema pongezi baba nyingi sana, kwa hakika wanao twakutolea. Najua baba Isidori Mpango sasa hivi umetulia, maana mwanzo toka nilipoingia baba unashindwa kunitizama, na mimi sasa hivi kibahati baba unakiangalia. Asema sasa unasikiliza maneno yangu mazuri hapa ninayokuambia. Asema baba niliposikia unakuja, basi jana mwanao niliota tena ndoto usiku ya kushangaza. Baba ndoto niliyoiota niliota usiku wa kiza. Asema niliota baba kuntoka kwenye kiti kunkuja, ni ishara ya kunipongeza. Basi mwanao nikakaa ndoto hii nikajiuliza, baba itakuja tokea kweli au shetani mbaya kapita kunipumbaza? Asema baba itatokea kweli au shetani kapita kunipumbaza, na mimi baba Isidori Mpango leo mbele ya hadhara hii ndoto utaitimiza vota. Muda usoza we fundi. Asema nikenda kwa makamu wangu sitakosa kitu.
Let us all clap our hands.
Asema nikenda kwa baba Isidori Mpango sitakosa kitu. asema hongera mwanangu we, hongera nani mwajikaje, sema hongera na sisi wanao, asema baba Sidori hongera we, nani mwajikia vipi, hongera na sisi.
Kaka.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Kibati another round of applause for good representation of Zanzibar, Tanzania. But allow me, guest of honor, to also say that Tanzania not only houses the beautiful long beaches, but is also the home for Kilimanjaro, which is the highest peak in Africa, but the highest standalone mountain in the world, Serengeti, Ngorongoro, and Zanzibar. Without further ado, guests of honor, allow me now to invite Her Excellency Veronica Nduva, the Secretary General of the East Africa Community, for our opening remarks. Our opening remarks will be followed by the remarks from the ministers present, to begin with the minister from the Republic of Uganda. As she's already on the stage, let's give her a warm round of applause. Karibu san.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Your Excellency, for releasing the dancers, finally. Excellency, the Deputy, Excellency Dr. Philip Mpango, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister of Energy and Minister of Energy, United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Mashaka, Honorable Ministers, allow me, Your Excellency, naomba uniruhusu nisimame kwa itifaki zilizowekwa kwa ajili ya muda. Excellency, it is my great honor to welcome you to the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to you, Your Excellency, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to grace this important occasion. We are privileged that the United Republic of Tanzania, a key player in East Africa's energy sector, is hosting us here yet again in the City of Peace, Dar es Salaam. I want to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because Dar es Salaam has hosted a series of activities in the recent past, and we have received the most gracious protocols and hospitality. Thank you very much. Again, a special thanks goes to the government of the United Republic of Tanzania for its tireless efforts in ensuring the comfort of all delegates. I also extend my appreciation to the ministries responsible for energy for their hard work in organizing this event on behalf of the ESC and for the steering committee for the great execution. Your Excellency, before I get into my main remarks, as you're aware, the 8 heads of the East African Community partner states bestowed upon me the honor to not only be the 7th Secretary General of the community, but the first woman. I therefore, thank you. I therefore, as we gather for this conference, want to recognize the remarkable women advancing the energy sector in a traditionally male-dominated field. It's inspiring to see women leaders, including CEOs, Minister from Uganda, breaking barriers and reshaping the petroleum industry. In celebration of the Women's Week and in honor of International Women's Day on March 8th, 2025, we acknowledge these trailblazers. Amongst them is Her Excellency Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, who leads global efforts in clean cooking energy. One of the words I've learned to my Kenyan brothers and sisters being here is nishati jadidifu and renewable energy for that matter. And I learned it from Her Excellency. We also celebrate the contributions of investors, businesswomen, unsung heroines across East Africa and beyond, who are laying the foundation for a more inclusive and progressive petroleum industry. Let us continue to support and uplift their work in driving innovation and sustainability. Your Excellency, a few years ago, the East African region was not a major player in the gas and oil industry, global oil and gas industry. However, significant changes have occurred since then, with groundbreaking discoveries and advancements in technology. Our region is now among the world's most promising frontiers for oil and gas exploration. To date, East Africa has discovered approximately 6.5 billion barrels of oil in Uganda, 750 million barrels in Kenya, and over 50 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in Tanzania. South Sudan also continues to produce and export crude oil, while Burundi and Rwanda are actively exploring potential oil and gas deposits. The progress in this progress is a testament to the region's growing potential in the energy sector, driven by innovations in exploration, technology, and efficient resource management. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your continued support and partnership in this journey. The 11th EAPCE 2025 claims to fulfill one of East Africa's community's primary objective, to promote the sustainable utilization of our natural resources while effectively protecting the environment. The theme of this conference, Your Excellency, unlocking investment in future energy, the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa, focuses on attracting capital investments necessary for exploration, development, and sustainable production of petroleum resources. Despite the challenges faced by the continent in utilizing petroleum resources for socio-economic transformation, we have the responsibility to learn, improve, and do better. Your Excellency, the East Africa region is now recognized globally as the key investment destination for oil and gas. The discovery of these resources, as mentioned, in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, alongside South Sudan's continued promotion, production, and export of crude oil, demonstrates the tremendous progress that has been made. Since the inception of the East Africa Petroleum Conference, we have seen remarkable achievements shared at every conference. As we gather here for the 11th conference, we can expect more updates on the oil and gas development, including new investments, infrastructure developments within the region. However, this progress must be supported by harmonized, stable, clear regulatory, legal, and fiscal frameworks. Moving to action. Where global oil prices have fluctuated in recent years, the East African communities and economies have remained resilient, weathering the storm. This continued economic growth, despite these global challenges, demonstrates the region's ability to offer long-term prospects and returns on investment. Investors can be assured that East Africa is a stable and attractive region for investment, even in the face of global economic uncertainties. Allow me, Your Excellency, to quote Dr. Donald Kaberuka. Thank you, sir, for your very good exposition. But my takeaway was one. He said, innovation is the real wealth. With this background, it is important for the region to center artificial intelligence in all initiatives going forward. It is important that there is a nexus between petroleum resources, oil and gas sector, and AI This will transform how energy companies will explore, extract, refine, and distribute petroleum. There is need to invest heavily in digital infrastructure and pathways to drive efficiency, reduce costs, and improve sustainability. Your Excellency, when you were in the forum on licensing, you asked, is there not of exploration that is more innovative, uses technology, and cuts on costs? Your Excellency, you also talked about need to train the locals. The secret is investing in skilling, research, innovation, knowledge building, and knowledge transfer. Excellencies, some of the areas to consider alongside these are automation, optimization, predictive maintenance, smart refineries, logistics spill detection and prevention, price forecasting, risk management, etc. AI is here with us. We do need to invest in it. Previous conferences have proven to be valuable platforms for interaction, networking, and business opportunities. I have no doubt that this year's conference will provide even more chances for collaboration and partnership, helping to drive the oil and gas sector forward. I want to encourage you all to participate in the field excursion carefully planned for this conference. In conclusion, I am confident that you'll find this conference both informative and rewarding. It will serve as an ideal forum for building professional relationships, exchanging ideas, and gaining insights into the rapidly evolving energy landscape of East Africa. Allow me to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have contributed to making this event a reality. All the sponsors, the National Organizing Committee, the Regional Steering Committee, my colleagues at the Secretariat, and the exhibitors, a big thank you all for your support. I thank you and I look forward to a productive and successful 3 days ahead. Ramadan Kareem, blessed Lent, happy International Women's Day, asanteni sana.
I'm sure we can do a better round of applause. Let's give a warm round of applause as we thank you, Your Excellency Veronica Nduva, the Secretary General of the East Africa Community, for those wonderful welcoming remarks. Your Excellency, allow me now to request the countries for their country remarks, to begin with Uganda, Republic of Uganda. These remarks will be made by Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, the Minister of Energy. Karibu, karibu sana. To be followed by Kenya.
Our chief guest, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Philip Mpango, our chief organizer, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Doto Biteko, the Secretary General of the East African Community, my colleagues, ministers from member states, my colleagues, members of parliament present, our permanent secretaries, representatives of government, partners from private sector, our partners from the Fourth Estate, and all of you invited guests in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Hope it is still good morning. It's already afternoon. Distinguished participants, it's my pleasure to be part of the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2025, which has been organized under a very important theme: unlocking investment, in future energy and the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa. This theme reminds us not to only appreciate the abundant sources of energy within the region, but also to proactively exploit it sustainably for our socio-economic development. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Kaberuka for your words of wisdom that you have given us, both policymakers and technical people in the room who form part of the initial negotiations. I just want to assure you, Doctor, that East Africa has learned from those who went in the industry before us. We've been able to pick on the challenges they faced at that time, and we've been able to put in place laws that safeguard against what our brothers and sisters went through. The issue of a complete value chain in all these resources is very critical, and we have made sure that we put laws in place that protect the environment, but also that govern the resources, the funds that we get from these natural resources. Uganda benchmarked with Norway, and we were advised to establish a petroleum fund, and that money is ring-fenced for infrastructure development. Electricity is very critical, but the infrastructure in the electricity sector requires money. So the petroleum resources in Uganda are ring-fenced for infrastructure development, electricity, roads, railway, and all that. On the mineral sector, my president informed you when he was here recently about the laws that we put in place that ban exportation of unprocessed minerals. So Dr. Kaberuka, we are wiser than our ancestors, and we will do the needful for East Africa. Therefore, this conference is being held at a critical time when the world is grappling with an energy transition that aims at advancing the development of renewable energy sources while targeting to achieve universal access to clean energy. How do nations like ours achieve the balance is why we've gathered here today, and I'm sure that at the end of this conference, we shall have consensus on how to maneuver around and make sure that we have achieved the energy transition and at the same time the required resources that we need to invest in other development areas. Besides unlocking critical revenues needed to advance the energy transition, petroleum will definitely provide the much needed gas as an alternative source of energy to the rudimentary use of biomass that has led to high deforestation rates and caused health challenges in women and children. We cannot thank enough Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, who is the champion, the Africa's champion on clean cooking. We have witnessed her efforts in global conferences in Paris and everywhere, championing clean cooking. Please allow me to appreciate her on behalf of Team Uganda and on behalf of the government of Uganda. Let me also take this opportunity to applaud the government, the entire government of the United Republic of Tanzania, for the warm welcome and the kind hospitality extended to us, all of us, when we arrived here to attend this conference, but also on the many times that we come. Congratulations to Dr. Duto Biteko, who has been the chief organizer of this conference. I know, colleagues, that you are aware about the criticality of energy in development and growth of the economy. The East African community attaches great significance, as you've heard from the Secretary General, and advancing the joint development of our energy resources will therefore enable us to achieve the intended goals of integration with the aim of achieving economic, social, and political integration. This will enhance competitiveness through increased production, trade, and investment in the oil and gas sector. Therefore, as East African partner states, we should place strong emphasis on cooperating in joint exploration and development of the energy resources found within the community and to promote investment in the sector. During this conference, I have a team that will be able to take us through Uganda's journey since 2006, but allow me to say that partnering with our colleagues like Tanzania, we've been able to pull through critical infrastructure which is needed, despite the fact that we have been bashed here and there. But I'm now smiling that the East African crude oil pipeline is on course, thanks to the Tanzanian government with whom we are partnering on that journey, and our other shareholders, Total Energy, Sinop, Uganda. Thank you so much. These infrastructures will remain critical in the region as we open more blocks for development. Your Excellency, the refinery that is going to be established in Uganda is not a Uganda alone infrastructure. South Sudan, DRC, even Tanzania can make that an infrastructure for the region. The East African crude oil pipeline can serve beyond the initial resource that we are developing right now. So this calls for critical partnership. I wish we can have a pool of resource that we can invest in any of the East African member states in case we've come with a critical need to pull through such an infrastructure. I am so excited, and I want to end by thanking you, sir, when I saw you move around, you know, the time you gave to see the exhibition. And I want to congratulate the exhibitors if they are in the room. It has given us hope that together we shall use the resource which is underground. We shall pull away from the enclave economy to diversification, value addition, that will take us into the knowledge economy, where we need innovators to use this finite resource for many more generations to come. Thank you, sir, Your Excellency, even for the efforts that you put in Baku, Azerbaijan. We saw you, we applauded you, and it gives us really high hope that if we move together, we'll be able to see the real socio-economic transformation for the East African people. Once again, thank you for the invitation. We are feeling at home. Thank you so much. May God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, Minister of Energy of the Republic of Uganda. Truly an African adage that says, if we move together, we go far. And this is what you demonstrated on your remarks. Your Excellency, allow me now to bring onto the stage Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, Minister of Energy and Petroleum from the Republic of Kenya. His remarks will be followed by those from the Republic of Ethiopia. As he's on the stage, let's give him a warm round of applause.
The chief guest, Your Excellency, Dr. Philip Mpango, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, our host, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Energy of the Republic of Tanzania, my colleague, ministers from the region, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I bring greetings and a message of goodwill from the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto. I am honored to be part of the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition, hosted by the United Republic of Tanzania. This forum is a crucial platform for collaboration, knowledge exchange, and investment in the region's petroleum sector. Kenya had the privilege of hosting the 9th edition in 2019. And I am pleased to see this conference continue to grow in significance. The theme of this year's event, that is unlocking investment in future energy, the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa, is timely. It underscores the need to balance petroleum resource development with sustainable energy solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya has restructured its petroleum exploration blocks to align with the global best practices and our legal frameworks. As a result, we have identified 10 highly prospective blocks selected based on geoscientific data that will be available for Kenya's first licensing round, launching by September 2025. This presents a unique opportunity for investors to explore our hydrocarbon potential through a transparent and merit-based process. These blocks are strategically located in the Lamu and Anza basins in the coast of the country, regions with proven discoveries and significant untapped potential. To support informed decision-making, Kenya has compiled comprehensive geoscientific data, including seismic surveys, geological reports, and well data, all available at the National Data Center, hosted by the National Oil Corporation of Kenya. We encourage investors to explore these resources for deeper insights into Kenya's petroleum potential. Kenya is set to make significant investments in infrastructure to support oil and gas exploration and development. And part of this includes the expansion of Lamu Port under the LAPSET Corridor Program, 2, improved road networks to facilitate logistics, and 3, the Lamu-Lokichar pipeline project, ensuring seamless transportation of petroleum products. These projects are designed to enhance Kenya's competitiveness as a regional energy hub. Indeed, Kenya is home to a highly skilled and growing workforce in the petroleum sector. And this can be attested to by the size of the delegation from Kenya that is here at this conference. We don't take matters petroleum lightly as a country. Our universities and technical institutions offer specialized training in petroleum engineering, geology, geophysics, among others. The government of the Republic of Kenya remains committed to capacity building initiatives, fostering local expertise and innovation to support industry growth. Kenya is also dedicated to providing an enabling environment for investors. We have a stable legal framework, flexible production sharing contract terms, and a government fully committed to the sustainable growth of the oil and gas sector, not only in Kenya, but in the entire region. Our focus on transparency, efficiency, and investor confidence remains steadfast. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, now is indeed the time to invest in Kenya's oil and gas sector. I encourage you to seize this opportunity and become part of our energy future. And for more information, I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to visit our data room and booth. Let's work together to unlock East Africa's energy potential. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, Minister of Energy and Petroleum from the Republic of Kenya, for your country remarks. Your Excellency, all the way from the Republic of Somalia, allow me now to welcome to the podium Honorable Tahir Shir Mohammed, Minister of Petroleum, Mineral Resources. Karibu, karibu sana. His remarks will be followed by a brief video on the theme that bears this meeting. As he's already on the stage, let's welcome him with a round of applause. Karibu.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dr. Philip, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, the Deputy Minister and Minister of Energy for Tanzania, and other ministers from East Africa countries, the permanent secretaries, Director Generals, Executive Directors, all protocols observed. Let me begin a warm greeting from His Excellency Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, President of Somalia Federal Republic, to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to speak to you today as a Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources for the Federal Government of Somalia. We are really privileged to be part of the 11th East Africa Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2025 for the first time, contributing to the economic, social, and political integration of the region. Our vision is to create a wealth and enhance competitiveness through a strategic development of the petroleum sector. By harnessing our nation's vast natural resources, we aim to unlock remarkable investment opportunities that will drive growth and prosperity for Somalia and the entire East Africa region. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, allow me to highlight the immense potential of the petroleum sector in Somalia and outline the strategic measures we have implemented to foster the conducive environment for international investors. It is very hard to believe that Somalia is now a volunteer for oil and gas exploration because of the hardships we have undergone. Some may have to believe that we are at this stage. Ladies and gentlemen, in February 2020, Federal Government of Somalia took a significant step towards developing the petroleum sector by erecting the petroleum law and establishing the Somalia Petroleum Authority, SBA, a regulatory authority to regulate petroleum operations. This pivotal move outlined the legal, regulatory, and institutional frameworks for petroleum investment and explorations in Somalia. Somalia provides a compelling fiscal framework aimed at maximizing returns for oil and gas investors while maintaining a balanced government revenue stream. The nation's fiscal terms, including competitive royalty rates, profit-sharing mechanisms, and advantageous tax policies, transparency, and investor-friendly regulations that allow investors to tap into Somalia's rich hydrocarbon resources. Your Excellency, petroleum exploration operations in Somalia were previously halted due to the civil war that broke out in Somalia in the 1990s. However, later resumed with systematic surveys that assessed that hydrocarbon. In 2014, seabed exploration acquired more than 20,567 kilometers of 2D seismic data. And in 2015-2016, a Spectrum acquired 20,699 kilometers of 2D seismic data. Having analyzed it and attributed this data, it was discovered that Somalia has got significant opportunities to develop its oil and gas resources in its offshore area. The offshore block is offer extensive potential and promising hydrocarbon reserves. Your Excellency, Somalia's offshore basins show favorable geological figures presenting substantial opportunities for further exploration and development. The unique geographical position and resource-rich offshore basins of Somalia attract significant foreign investment and investors. Your Excellency, the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources has successfully signed production sharing agreement BSAs for 3 offshore blocks with various foreign companies and 3 onshore blocks. Other negotiations are currently ongoing for both onshore and offshore. Your Excellency, I am pleased to announce that Somalia has identified over 30 offshore blocks, confirming the presence of significant hydrocarbons. These blocks are now open for investment. We offer valuable opportunities for investors to participate in the development of Somalia's promising oil and gas resource. I hope in the exhibition, a lot of you may have time to go and see what opportunities that Somalia has for investors in the near future. Your Excellency, for the first time in history, Somalia commenced offshore 3D seismic survey. A Turkish-owned company, TBAO, began the 3D seismic survey in November 2024 and is scheduled to finish in April 2025. This survey aims to provide a detailed understanding of the surface's structure and enhance exploration efforts. Another company, Liberty Petroleum, is planned to conduct an extensive 3D seismic survey in 2025 if all goes well. The discovery of oil and gas can significantly transform the country's economic and social landscape. Economically, the scale of oil and gas generates substantial revenue, allowing the government to fund critical infrastructure, education, and healthcare projects. The development of oil and gas sector creates numerous job opportunities from manual labor to technical and administrative roles, reduces resilience on a single industry, and fosters economic resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Somalia remains committed to attract investors in this sector and wishes all East Africa countries to continue progress and success in the energy sector. In my conclusion, I would like to highlight that in the recent war against the extremists, Somalia is not fighting on that, but is fighting the extremists and also one hand developing its natural resources under reconstruction of its country. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, we are committed to have our resource extracted and developed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let's give a round of applause once again for Honorable Dahir Shair Mohammed, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources from the Federal Republic of Somalia. Hongera sana na karibu Tanzania. Your Excellency, before the opening remarks from Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, the Minister of Energy here in Tanzania, and also the Deputy Prime Minister here in Tanzania, allow me to say some few words before also welcoming you as the Chief of Guests to say some few words. Tanzania, half of the size of Tanzania is covered by the potential hydrocarbon basin, where there is a possibility of having a lot of resources of oil and gas is real. Tanzania is also promoting the 5th licensing round to be launched maybe in the next couple of months. So the potentiality of Tanzania is real, as we said. We have almost 26 blocks, 23 offshore blocks around Indian Ocean. We have potentiality of 3 lakes around Lake Tanganyika. So you can see and imagine Tanzania has a lot of potential. Your Excellency, allow me now to welcome a very short video that will explain the reality of Tanzania in terms of what I've said. Naomba tucheze video fupi tafadhali.
Tanzania stands at the threshold of a new era in energy development under the visionary leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and the dedicated guidance of Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Energy. The nation is unlocking its vast hydrocarbon potential to drive economic growth, industrialization, and energy security. Tanzania's 5th licensing round marks a significant milestone in the country's energy sector, opening new opportunities for investment and sustainable growth. It will also play a crucial role in supporting the realization of the Clean Cooking Initiative, enhancing access to affordable and environmentally friendly energy solutions. The journey of oil and gas exploration in Tanzania dates back to the 1950s, with early studies revealing promising sedimentary basins. Covering approximately 534,000 square kilometers, Tanzania's inland, coastal, and offshore basins hold immense potential. Over the decades, more than 130,000 kilometers of 2D seismic data and 37,000 square kilometers of 3D seismic data have been acquired. And 96 exploratory and development wells have been drilled, contributing to a growing knowledge about our petroleum resources. Tanzania's journey in oil and gas exploration has already led to significant discoveries, with some early discoveries made by the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC. Onshore and shallow water gas fields such as Songo Songo, Mnazibe, Kuranga, Mtoria, Kiliwani, and Ruvu have confirmed 10.41 trillion cubic feet of gas initially in place. Offshore discoveries in Block 1, 2, 3, and 4 have uncovered an impressive 47.13 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. These discoveries fuel Tanzania's ambition to become a regional energy powerhouse. To date, Tanzania has produced a total of 820 billion cubic feet of natural gas from 3 developed fields, Songo Songo, Mnazi Bay, and Kiliwani North. The production volumes for each field were 587 billion cubic feet from Songo Songo, 227 billion cubic feet from Mnazi Bay, and 5.9 billion cubic feet from Kiliwani North. This natural gas has been utilized domestically, supporting power generation, industrial heating, household and institutional cooking, and fueling vehicles through compressed natural gas, CNG. Tanzania's existing infrastructure, natural gas processing and transportation, provides strong support for the development of its discovered gas resources. The country's processing facilities have a total capacity of 470 million standard cubic feet per day, with potential for expansion to accommodate new developments. There is also over 850 kilometers transmission pipeline network connecting Mtwara and Songo Songo to Dar es Salaam, capable of transporting up to 959 million standard cubic feet per day of natural gas from the processing plants. The country's strategic location along the Indian Ocean, facing major Asian gas markets, makes it an attractive destination for upstream petroleum investments. The ongoing construction of the 1,443-kilometer East Africa crude oil pipeline, EACOP, from Uganda to Tanzania, further strengthens logistical capacity, particularly in the event of oil discoveries in areas such as Lake Tanganyika and Eyasi-Wembere. Moreover, the upcoming liquefied natural gas LNG project will create new opportunities for recent discoveries to access infrastructure for overseas markets. To maximize these resources, Tanzania has previously conducted 4 licensing rounds, attracting global players such as Petrobras, Ophir, Dominion, and Statoil, now Equinor. These rounds have been instrumental in advancing exploration and setting the stage for deeper offshore development. As a result, major and renowned oil companies, including ExxonMobil, Shell, Pavilion, and Pertamina, have acquired participating interests, further strengthening Tanzania's position in the global energy sector. The 5th licensing round presents an unmatched opportunity, whereby a total of 26 exploration blocks, 20 in Indian Ocean and 3 in Lake Tanganyika, are open for investment. This strategic initiative opens the door to untapped hydrocarbon potential, with favorable licensing terms that include a 9-year exploration period and a 25-year development and production period, ensuring long-term stability for investors. The benefits of this licensing round extend far beyond resource exploration. It will attract foreign direct investment, bring in much-needed capital, advanced technology, and expertise to Tanzania. This influx of investment will provide employment opportunities, stimulate economic growth, and support local industries and communities. Additionally, it will enhance energy security and ensure a stable supply of natural gas for power generation, industries, vehicles, and households, both locally and across regional markets. Through this licensing round, Tanzania will strengthen its position in the global energy market by leveraging strategic projects such as the liquefied natural gas development, solidifying its role as a key player in the industry. The government of Tanzania, under the leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, is committed to fostering an investor-friendly environment. Infrastructure projects such as the Mtwara Dar es Salaam gas pipeline and natural gas processing plants are enabling utilization of the produced natural gas. Tanzania's energy future is bright, and the 5th licensing round is a gateway to prosperity. With abundant resources, strategic policies, and unwavering leadership, the time to invest is now. Join us as we shape the future of Tanzania's energy sector and unlock new opportunities for growth and development.
Let's give a round of applause for Tanzania, the 5th upcoming licensing round. Your Excellency, allow me to welcome Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Energy, who will speak some few words, and then he will welcome you as a chief guest for the official opening. Karibu sana.
Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Your Excellency Dr. Philip Isidori Mpango, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, Her Excellency Veronica Nduva, the Secretary General of the Eastern African Community, Honorable Members of Parliament, Excellency High Commissioners and Ambassadors, Honorable Albert Charamira, the Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner, together with other regional commissioners and district commissioners here present, permanent secretaries from different ministries led by Engineer Frichesi Mramba, heads of local and international institutions and organizations, business leaders, sponsors, and event organizers who are here, members of the media houses, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great honor to stand before you today as we gather to explore the vibrant future of our region energy sector. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child, and indeed, this successive preparation of this conference have been truly a collective endeavor from a number of players who are here and some who are not here in this room. The conference has brought up together countless individuals and organizations working hand in hand from regional to national level to make this vision a reality. Your commitment and hard work has been instrumental in bringing us to this momentous occasion, and I thank you all for the hard work that you have been doing. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to have with us a distinguished leader who has dedicated in his career to advancing our national interest and fostering sustainable development, none than the other Dr. Philip Isidori Mpango, the Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency, the Vice President, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for you personally for accepting to officiate this important event for East Africa. We are truly grateful for your presence here today, despite your tight schedule, which we all know. I was sharing with His Excellency the schedule he had for the last 3 days. He was in Namibia, he came back to Dar es Salaam, he went to Mbeya, then he went to Dodoma. He was in his home village in Buhigwe. He arrived tonight in Dar es Salaam just to honor this gathering. I thank you so much, Your Excellency. You have made this event an important event, and indeed, it has added value because of your presence. Asante sana, asante sana. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President's insights and vision will undoubtedly inspire us as we embark on discussions that will shape the trajectory of the petroleum industry in the Eastern Africa. Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, kadri uchumi unavyokuwa, mahitaji ya nishati yanaongezeka, haswa gesi asilia ambayo ni mahitaji ya juu sana kwenye uchumi wa nchi yetu. Na kwa sababu hiyo, unikubalie uchukue shukrani zetu za dhati kwake yeye mwenyewe Mheshimiwa Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, kwa kuendeleza jitihada za kuendeleza mkondo wa juu kwa lengo la kugundua na kuendeleza vyanzo vingi vya gesi hapa nchini. Chini ya uongozi wake na wewe ukiwa msaidizi wake mkuu kwa upande wa mkondo wa juu, tumeweza kufikia hatua muhimu ikiwemo kuimarisha uzalishaji wa gesi asilia katika vitalu vya Songosongo, Mnazi Bay, ambayo kimsingi ni maendeleo yetu kwenye uchumi wa gesi. Jambo la pili, amehakikisha pia uendelezaji wa gesi asilia iliyogunduliwa katika eneo la Ntolia lililopo kitaru cha Ruvuma kutoa leseni yake kwa uendelezaji kwa ajili ya kampuni ya Petroli. Na jambo la tatu, ameongeza ushiriki wa kampuni ya serikali ya TPDC katika kitaru chake cha Mnazi Bay kutoka ushiriki wa 20% hadi 40%. Ladies and gentlemen, mine is just to invite His Excellency, the Vice President, on the podium. I want just to correct what the MC said, that I have an opening remark. Please, don't cost me. My boss is in house. I cannot have opening remarks while the Vice President is here, and he's the one who is going to help us to open this momentous event. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to His Excellency the Vice President as he shares his thoughts and vision for the future of our industry in East Africa. Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, karibu sana.
Please be seated. Honorable Dr. Doto Mashaka Biteko, Member of Parliament, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Energy of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers from the East African Community, as well as Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Her Excellency Ambassador Veronica Nduva, the EAC Secretary General, Honorable Albert Chalamila, Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner, and other regional commissioners present, I stand by the protocols already established by the Program Director and the Permanent Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to Tanzania. Karibuni sana. It is also an honor to address this gathering at such a critical juncture in the evolution of the East Africa energy landscape on behalf of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. She sends her regards and wishes this conference to be very successful. As we convene today to explore the theme of unlocking investment in future energy, the role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development in East Africa, we stand at a crossroad facing both unprecedented opportunities and complex challenges. The East Africa region stands at the dawn of a new era where sustainable energy development will define the future of our environment, economies, and societies. As such, our path forward must clearly balance growth and sustainability, balance innovation with responsibility, and the needs of today with the aspirations of tomorrow. The theme of this conference reflects the reality we are facing today. On one hand, we must address climate change concerns that demand changes in our daily lives, including the energy sources we rely upon. On the other hand, we have social and economic needs of our people that require energy and financial resources to address. One potential solution to this challenge is the development of our region's available resources, including petroleum. Nevertheless, it is clear that we have the collective obligation to strike a balance between sustaining the needs of our people today and ensuring that we do not compromise the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. Distinguished participants, I think you will agree with me that energy is a key driver of development, because energy consumption is used as a yardstick to measure society's level of development. However, as it stands now, sub-Saharan Africa has a very low energy consumption compared to other regions like America, Asia, and Europe. And it is therefore crucial to explore our energy potential and find the best ways to harness and use our resources to empower our people to prosper. Distinguished participants, some of the regional energy challenges include limited access to modern energy, insufficient financial resources, and reliance on biomass, which holds back our economic progress. It is for this reason that the 7th goal of the UN Agenda for Sustainable Development calls for ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. And to achieve this goal, our governments have embarked on various projects such as rural electrification and promotion of clean cooking initiatives to ensure energy accessibility. Governments have also taken the lead in energy investments and provided subsidies for distribution and connections. In all these initiatives, we also had to take into account energy security and affordability, informed by the economic status of our people. Distinguished participants, as we are aware, East Africa is endowed with significant energy resources, including an active petroleum system. Natural gas has been discovered in Tanzania, as we heard, oil in Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan, methane in Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and geothermal resources in Kenya and Tanzania, just to mention a few. At the same time, our regional energy demands keep growing, driven by many initiatives that we are taking to develop our economies through industrialization and rural electrification. And to overcome growing energy demand to benefit our people, there is need to effectively utilize all our energy resources, including petroleum, in order to fill or close the energy deficit for accelerated development. Additionally, such energy resources may serve as a major source of revenue for our governments, which can then be reinvested in infrastructure and building human capital, and thereby support broader development agenda. Distinguished participants, we are also cognizant of the fact that the world is facing climate change that has damaged the environment through unpredictable rain seasons, flooding, earthquakes, rising temperatures, and so on. And Tanzania, like many other nations, has committed to a global compact aimed at reducing fossil fuel use to combat climate change with the goal of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Indeed, African countries are striving to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy, with natural gas and other alternative sources serving as bridges towards the goal of net zero carbon emissions. However, it is upon us to strike a balance between growth and sustainability by solving today's problems while preparing solutions for tomorrow's problems. We note that petroleum resources continue to play a crucial role in today's energy mix, and by using these resources responsibly, I am convinced that we can drive development while leveraging the revenue generated to transition towards a greener future. Dear participants, technological innovation has fortunately led to advancement in oil and gas technologies, including cleaner extraction methods and potential for carbon capture and storage. Now, this development gives us a window of opportunity to developing countries like us to maximize the extraction of their petroleum resources sustainably. To ensure sustainability, revenue derived from these investments should be used to fund development projects, create jobs, and reinvest in environmental restoration initiatives. I think for the benefit of future generations and in the spirit of responsibility, our policies and laws should include the creation of a savings fund by dedicating some percentage of revenue from petroleum resources for future use, but especially for building infrastructure and the stock of skilled human capital, but also foster backward and forward linkages with other sectors. And on this note, I would really like to thank my senior brother, Dr. Kaberuka, for the excellent messages that he underlined, but also emphasized by my sister, the Minister of Energy from Uganda. And this includes making sure that we have a robust management and governance framework to avoid capture by the ruling clique and even corruption. Distinguished participants, we cannot avoid transitioning to cleaner sources of energy, as it is a crucial strategy for decarbonization. However, investments in renewable energy are both capital intensive and costly, and require specialized skills to operate and manage. And it is estimated that Africa needs between $1 and $2 trillion to meet the clean energy transition targets by 2030. In response, our countries are implementing policies and programs to encourage investment in renewable energy, as indicated by the current status in Tanzania, where renewable sources now take the lead in the energy mix. And given that the petroleum resources are locally available, but facing limited investment capital, I think it makes sense for African countries to develop them now as a foundation towards energy transition. And in order to accelerate this process and attain sustainable development goals, we suggest that a public-private partnership model should be pursued, but this will have to be underpinned by a favorable investment environment in our countries. Distinguished participants, as the theme of the conference suggests, We are here to discuss and exchange ideas and experiences with the aim of unlocking investment opportunities in future energy and understanding the strategic role of petroleum resources in the energy mix for sustainable development. I hope your discussion will shape the future where renewable and future energy consumption will increase and surpass the consumption of petroleum resources. It is also important to strengthen regional collaboration to ensure the future we are envisioning is realized through a just energy transition. As I conclude, I wish you all the best in discussing the future of energy, and it is my hope that your deliberations will help to inform our policies towards the future energy sustainability. The energy landscape is clearly evolving, and to benefit from what lies ahead, we must strengthen our collaboration. I also urge investors and development partners to join us in this transition. Additionally, we must continue to advocate for a just energy transition from fossil fuels to cleaner energy sources, while ensuring that economic and social impacts of this transition are fairly distributed. And this means no one should be left behind and that everyone benefits from the transition. Let us join hands in unlocking the immense potential of East Africa's energy sector, paving the way for sustainable growth and lasting prosperity in our region. With these remarks, on behalf of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, it is my singular honor to declare that the 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2025 is officially opened. I wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters Ramadan Kareem, and for my fellow Christians, Holy Lent. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, guest of honor, for your warm opening remarks. Allow me to request you that we should take a few photos in remembrance of this historic conference, the EAPC 2025. And the group photos that we are going to have, we're going to have 5 group photos. We're going to have 5 group photos. The first group will involve the ministers from the East African community member states, the regional commissioners, ambassador, representative, and other. You may get seated, please. Thank you. Asante. Naomba tafadhali walioandaliwa kwa ajili ya group photo. Your Excellency, allow me to announce the group photos. The first group photo will be involve the ministers from EAC region, the regional commissioners, ambassador, and representative from different countries. The second group will be the permanent secretaries from EAC member states, technical team, head of institutions across the region. The third group will be the sponsors and the exhibitors, without forgetting the religious leaders. And also we'll have the steering committee from EAC. And the last one will be the NOC committee members. So the first one will be all the delegates that are in the high table. Thank you very much. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa.
ni picha za pamoja zikiwa matukio la kupiga picha za kumbukumbu na viongozi walioshiriki katika tukio hili muhimu. Kama Rais Dr. Philip Mpango akiwa amekamilisha ufunguzi rasmi wa tukio hili, mkutano mkubwa wa petroli na gesi na maonesho ya bidhaa hizo na umuhimu wake katika jamii kwa ujumla wake. Miongoni mwa yale ambayo amezungumza makamu wa rais Dr. Philip Mpango ni kuhusiana na maendeleo katika sekta hii, ambapo amesema kwamba itasaidia sana ukuaji wa uchumi, ajira pamoja na kuhifadhi mazingira katika maeneo ambayo bado kuna matumizi ya nishati isiyo safi, hususan katika kupikia. Vile vile ameelezea kuhusiana na jukumu la msingi kwamba ni kuhakikisha kuna kuwepo na uwepo wa huduma muhimu za kijamii ikiwemo nishati safi ya kupikia. Zaidi ya hiyo pia ameelezea umuhimu wa kufanya tafiti kukabiliana na changamoto zinazokwamisha matumizi ya nishati safi pamoja na uunganishwaji kwa wananchi ili kuweza kutumia nishati hiyo pamoja na unafuu wa ya gharama kwa ajili ya watumiaji. Vile vile ameelezea jinsi Afrika ya Mashariki ilivyo na rasilimali nyingi za mafuta pamoja na gesi na mahitaji yamekuwa yakiongezeka. Hivyo basi nchi hizo zinapaswa kufanya uwekezaji na kuchangamkia fursa pia kwa uwekezaji ambao wanakaribishwa kutoka katika mataifa mengine. Zaidi ya yote pia amezungumzia uundwaji ama utungwaji wa sera zilizo rafiki ili ziweze kusaidia upatikanaji wa mitaji na uwekezaji katika miundo mbinu. Ndio makubwa ambayo yamezungumzwa, na hiyo ndio picha ya kwanza kati ya Dr. Philip Mpango, makamu wa rais, pamoja na mawaziri wanaohusiana na nishati katika nchi wanazotoka. Lakini vile vile kabishwa mabalozi sasa kwa ajili nao pia kuwepo katika kumbukumbu hiyo muhimu kabisa ya mkutano huu mkutano huu wa 11 wa nishati ya petroli na gesi pamoja na maonesho. Niko na Rehema Sibabili naye ambaye amekuwa akifuatilia kile ambacho kimekuwa kikifanyika hapa. Yeye pia ni mwandishi wa habari za biashara na uchumi kibiashara. Hili Rehema.
Kweli kabisa. Lakini pia pale makamu wa rais anasema kwamba Afrika lazima tuweze kuhama kutoka kwenye matumizi ya nishati chafu kwenda kwenye matumizi ya nishati safi. Licha ya kwamba kuhama huku kunahitaji fedha nyingi, kunahitaji ujuzi, lakini pia kunahitaji teknolojia. Na kama ulivyomsikia vizuri pale, amesema ili kuweza kufikia kuweza kuhama kutoka kwenye matumizi ya nishati ile chafu kwenda kwenye matumizi ya nishati safi, Afrika inahitaji wastani wa kati ya shilingi dola za Marekani trilioni 1 mpaka 2 ili kuweza sasa tunasema kufikia ile azma ya kama bara la Afrika kuhama kutoka kwenye matumizi ya nishati hii chafu kwenda kwenye nishati safi. Lakini kama unakumbuka pia kuna huyu mama anaitwa Veronica Nduva ambaye ni katibu mkuu wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Yeye pia ameweza kutumia muda huu kuweza kuwakaribisha wawekezaji katika sekta hii ya nishati na sekta ya nishati kwa maana ya mafuta na gesi, akiweka bayana kwamba Afrika Mashariki imejaliwa rasilimali hizi za nishati za gesi lakini pia na mafuta. Bayana kwamba kwa upande wa Tanzania ina wastani wa mita za ujazo ni futi za ujazo takribani trilioni 52 hivi, huku Uganda ikiwa na wastani wa pipa bilioni 6.5 hivi za ujazo za mafuta. Kwa hiyo unaona kwamba bado Afrika Mashariki inaendelea kuwa kitovu cha sekta hii kwenye upande huu wa nishati, hususan kwenye eneo hili la gesi asilia. Na endapo kwamba tutapata wawekezaji ambao tunasema ni wawekezaji, wanasema wawekezaji sahihi wawekezaji sahihi katika eneo hili, itakuwa ni rahisi sana kwa nchi hizi za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kuweza tunasema kutransform, kuhama kutoka kwenye nishati chafu kwenda kwenye nishati safi ikiwemo nishati safi ya kupikia. Naam.
Naam, hivyo ndivyo linavyohitimishwa mkutano huu, na huu ni ufunguzi tu, kwa sababu mijadala mbalimbali itaendelea baada ya hapa na kuna mada kadha wa kadha zitawasilishwa ikiwemo utafutaji na uendelezaji wa mafuta na gesi katika nchi za Afrika ya Mashariki, lakini vile vile kutakuwa kuna mjadala kuhusiana na fursa za uwekezaji katika mnyororo wa thamani wa bidhaa hizi kwa maana ya mafuta na gesi. Vile vile natarajiwa kuwepo kwa mjadala kuhusiana na dhana ya kuelekea nishati safi kama alivyokutajia hapa mwenzangu Rema Sebabili kwamba inakadiriwa kwamba zinahitajika takriban dola trilioni 1.2 kuweza kuhama kabisa kutoka kwenye nishati sio safi ya kupikia ama matumizi ya nishati sio safi kwenda katika nishati iliyo safi, na hii ni hadi kufikia mwaka 2030. Vile vile hapo baadaye wanaohusika ama wanaoshiriki katika tukio hili watajadili kuhusiana na masuala ya mazingira, kwa sababu moja ya vitu ambavyo vimetajwa vya matumizi ya nishati safi ni kuokoa mazingira. Vile vile wataangazia masuala ya sheria na namna ya kudhibiti mafuta, sheria hizi za kudhibiti mafuta na gesi pamoja na mengineyo. Kiasi cha gesi ambacho kinatajwa kuwepo hapa nchini umekisikia punde tu, kitajwa karibu futi za ujazo zaidi ya trilioni 50 na kitu 52 hivi na kuendelea. Na gesi hii inatajwa kwamba iligunduliwa Tanzania mwaka 1974 huko Songosongo, na ilianza kuzalishwa mwaka 2004 na inatumika kwenye viwanda, magari, majumbani, na kwa kiasi kikubwa inatumika vile vile kuzalisha nishati ya umeme. Hivi karibuni shughuli za utafutaji mafuta zimeanza kwenye maeneo mbalimbali hapa nchini ikiwemo bonde la Eyasi, Wembere, ambapo serikali inatarajiwa kuanza kuchimba visima vya utafutaji mafuta na gesi vile vile, huku dalili zikionyesha kuwa eneo hilo lina rasilimali nyingi tu husika katika gesi na mafuta. Picha mbalimbali zikiendelea kupigwa kwa ajili ya kumbukumbu za tukio hili muhimu kabisa. Mtazamaji wa TBC, ni matangazo mubashara kutoka kituo cha mikutano cha kimataifa cha Mwalimu Julius Nyerere jijini Dar es Salaam, panapofanyika mkutano huu wa 11 kuhusiana na petroli na gesi pamoja na maonesho mwaka 2025.
Basi bila kupoteza wakati kwanza tukushukuru.
Na hivi sasa inaelezwa kwamba sehemu kubwa ya gesi hii ambayo imekwisha gunduliwa nchini Tanzania imekwisha anza kuchimbwa na matumizi yake imekwisha anza kutumiwa katika nyanja mbalimbali, na imetajwa kwamba Afrika inatajwa kuwa na utajiri mkubwa sana wa hifadhi hii ya gesi asilia, ambapo ni zaidi ya nusu nchi 55 zina gesi asilia inayofikia futi za ujazo trilioni 800. Naam, Dr. Philip Isidori Mpango hivyo ndivyo anakamilisha ufunguzi wa tukio hili muhimu kabisa, huku sasa akiwapisha wajumbe kuendelea kujadili kile ambacho wamepanga kukifanya na kukijadili katika mkutano huu. Mkutano huu, mtazamaji, umekuja wakati muafaka kwani unawaleta wadau wote wa nishati ya petroli kutoka Afrika Mashariki na nchi zingine, lakini vile vile kupitia mkutano huu nchi washirika zitabadilishana uzoefu katika masuala ya utafutaji wa mafuta, huku Tanzania tayari ikiwa imeanza kubadilishana uzoefu na nchi kama vile Uganda ambayo imekuwa ikishirikiana nayo katika suala zima hili la mafuta. Na mtazamaji, basi hivyo ndivyo mkutano huu wa 11 wa Afrika Mashariki kuhusiana na petroli na gesi ambavyo umefunguliwa rasmi, na sasa wadau hawa mara baada ya mapumziko mafupi watarejea kwa ajili ya kuanza kujadili dhana na mada mbalimbali ambazo zimepangwa katika tukio hili muhimu kabisa. Kutoka katika kituo cha mikutano cha kimataifa cha Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, hatuna la ziada kwa siku ya hii ya leo. Mtangazaji